Nick from the Nick Show, and today I have Benny, Noah, and Andy again. Say hi, everyone.
Hey.
Hi, everyone.
Good.
What's good?
Good. And today we are talking about creepypastas, and I went to r/nosleep because that's what I like more than creepypastas. Today
Yeah,
on the
creepypasta.
lineup, we're going to talk about two that everyone knows about, one that's a little bit lesser known, and then we're going to talk about some crappy ones. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Russian sleep experiment. So boys, let's talk about the Russian
Boys.
sleep experiment.
Boys and men.
Boys and men?
Boys, two
Boys,
men.
two men.
Ooh,
Ah,
boys
ha,
for now.
ha.
It's a good band.
We might have, we have ladies in the audience maybe. So boys and ladies.
That's
There aren't
a
ladies
reach.
don't go on the internet.
Ladies
That's
don't go on
rule
the internet?
37, dude. That's rule 37. There are no girls on the
Girl means guy in real life. So
Yeah, it's
that
just
is
a dude.
that. Okay, side note, whenever I play a video game, I always play a girl. So never. If you ever see
You're
me,
not
so
you're not the only one that does that, dude.
obviously
Come
I know
on.
I'm not. Oops.
I've never done that. Not
All
gonna
right,
lie.
so I pulled up the Wikipedia.
Okay,
Russian sleep
Benny.
experiment.
You on your high horse.
Oh my gosh, I pulled up Russian.
And
sleep
immediately the
experiment.
podcast is derailed.
That's
Yeah,
true.
exactly.
Honestly, it really is. So I have the Wikipedia pulled up for the Russian sleep experiment. I might try and. Oops, I forgot to change the. What you call it? You guys still there? Hello.
Everything all good.
Oh, good. That was weird. You
Yeah,
guys are
I'm here.
cutting out. Okay, good. Sorry, I gotta change the thing. But so go ahead and talk about the Russian sleep experiment.
Well, That's
Why
definitely-
don't we actually break it down? Kind of like
Mhm.
go through what exactly was the Russian sleep experiment, in case you're unfamiliar or
yes, of course. So it's definitely the one of the most well-known creepypastas. Basically, this story kind of was posed as fact for a while, so a lot of people kind of believed it. At least I did when I was younger. But basically, the idea was in Russia in the 1940s, during World War II, some Russian scientists wanted to experiment this gas, some sort of experimental gas. They don't really say whether it's a poison or what. They just say that they wanted to experiment on this gas with human subjects.
Hmm.
So what they did is they locked 5 people in a room. They gave them plenty of stuff. These people were like enemies of the state. They were people that Russia didn't want to mess around with. And so they locked them up in a room, gave them plenty of food, water, plenty of oxygen, just everything that they gave them, even beds,
Mm.
anything that would assist them, in just living a chill life. So basically, the whole idea was they're going to lock them in a room for 30 days, and they're going to flood the whole room with this experimental. Basically, over time, for a while, the individuals were acting pretty normal.
Mhm.
They were just chilling, not doing much of anything. But after a while, they kind of started acting a little weird, whispering to the walls where like these microphones were, so that people could monitor them. And then I forgot what happened after that. I think one of them like started screaming, and then all the others were kind of just ignoring him. And over time, they basically went insane, and so they all started screaming, and they wouldn't shut up. And so eventually, the researchers went inside to figure out what was going on. And one of the guys was actually dead, and they laid all his organs out, and like his vessels and stuff, like all his blood vessels, they're all laid out on the ground. And the other 4 subjects were all like, sorry, I was clearing my throat. The other 4 subjects were all like marred. They had self-inflicted wounds, like their fingers were like nubbed down to the bone, like their like organs were all like their muscles and stuff were just, it was a mess. They were barely alive, yet they were still somehow functioning. And they ended up turning off the gas on them, and they were like, wait, no, don't do that, we like the gas, like we have to, we can't fall asleep, we
we
need
must
the gas.
remain awake.
Yeah, must stay up.
That was
Right,
like,
yeah.
we must remain awake.
Right, exactly. They wanted to stay awake for some reason. And what ended up happening was they turned off the gas, and some people went in there and got killed by these, because these dudes were somehow insanely strong. They were strangely strong, and so a couple people died trying to get them out, but they ended up apprehending them, and if I'm not mistaken, they end up uh, taking them out of the gas, and they're still complaining about being in the gas, and then they some of the researchers end up killing them, but before they kill them, they they're like almost drifting off to sleep, since the gas was keeping them alive. um, and one of the last subjects basically tells the researchers, like, yo, we're like the insanity of your mind, like we're what you try to keep dormant, we're like the evil and the madness within. And then the guy's like, nope, and shoots him, so then they all die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a pretty
I
good
don't know if I
nutshell.
missed anything, but yeah.
One detail is that when they were trying to they pulled them out of the room to save them because they were all like emaciated and messed up. So they started doing surgery on them, and that's another detail is when they were doing surgery on them, they just started laughing and smiling the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And when they stopped, they were just like, "No, keep going, keep cutting." You know that,
Oh,
and then
right.
and then the guard freaked out and was like, "What the heck are you? I'm not gonna be stuck in this bunker with you losers." And then the monster responds like that philosophical, like, "We've been inside you the whole time." You know that that stuff.
Exactly. I have it pulled up here, and it said they turned off the gas halfway through on the 15th day instead of the 30th day. So like halfway through,
Yeah, they didn't make
they
it till the 30
they
days.
turned it off, and they just they started having severe mutations, talking about how they had tearing off flesh and muscles, removing multiple abdominal internal organs, and
That was
practicing
after they turned off
self
the gas.
cannibalism. That is why they turned it. Upon looking inside, that's when they turned it off. That's when they discovered it.
Oh, okay.
Did they ever like what was the Russians like motivation to keep these guys? I mean, just to see the effects of sleep deprivation, or was there like a particular reason?
I think it was tied to the war effort because they're at war,
Mm-hmm.
and they thought, well, if we can give people soldiers this gas that keeps them awake, they can fight around the clock without needing to rest or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, we'll just grab a bunch of peasants and throw them in there, and
Oh, yeah, yeah. It was basically like, yeah, what he said. I didn't really have anything to add.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I could see that because when you're sleep deprived, you're like you're grouchy essentially, and
Yeah,
like let's say you're at work and you're grouchy and you want to pass out, but you can't because you don't want to get fired. So imagine, I guess, just imagine not physically not being able to go to sleep.
that's true.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
being
I mean,
forced to stay awake.
sleep deprivation does have very drastic effects on mood and effect and all sorts of things. Like hallucinations are very common, and
Mm.
lack of sympathy and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, if you watch, there's a pretty good movie, The Machinist.
Mm.
Is a pretty interesting story on like what the lengths your mind can go to play tricks on you when you don't sleep, because he's an insomniac that hasn't slept well in over like a year, and
Yeah,
comes up with this whole crazy, you know, not to spoil the movie or anything, but that's kind of like that's what can happen. So the thing that I thought was, when I first read this story, I was in high school. This was one of the first creepypastas I ever read, and I didn't even know what a creepypasta was back then. Somebody sent me this link or something, or I found it somewhere, and um, I listened to it, and I thought this was a legit thing. And I was like, "What? This couldn't have happened. This is crazy. Whoa!" And I sent it to one of my friends, and he's like, "That's
yeah.
insane. The Soviet Union was so screwed up," and stuff like that. And then after I went back and read it again not that long ago. I mean, I read it again after that, and I started noticing the very clear situational clues that this was completely such as
Yeah.
the biggest clue is that the big philosophical speech at the end, given by like a Russian peasant person,
Yeah.
is like sounds like something that would have been written by somebody in a like who just learned a come from a philosophy class or something. We are in here
Yeah, I just caught
like
up on the works of Nietzsche. Big fan.
something like yeah that kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, that's really kind of
It's very high school
doesn't sound like
philosophy.
Well,
r
it
slash
says that
that.
they were. It says that they were political individuals, political prisoners who were enemies of the state.
Yeah.
I wonder if
They weren't just mere peasants.
Yeah.
I wonder if they were
Enemies of the
getting at
state, but
like
in World War II, that was anyone, because Stalin killed more people than Hitler,
over a longer
and it
period
was
of time.
all his
so
own
yes.
people. So,
Over a
Yeah,
longer period of
so
time.
checkmate, communist.
political prisoners. Yeah.
I wonder
But
if
it's
Yeah,
the I wonder if the guy who gave this whole philosophical spiel, I wonder if he was getting it kind of like the Freudian idea of the id and the superego and
yeah. I mean that's probably. I mean
was
there
anyone
is
here a
definitely
philosophy
elements
major?
of that.
We need to get David in here.
Well, I
He
mean
was
this
psychology.
this
It's close
also
enough,
this
but,
also
you know.
has this also has like this like Benny was mentioning a psychological basis. With Freudian
psychology.
id.
Yeah.
Because he says, "We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be freed every moment." It goes on, which is kind of the same mantra that Freud had with the unconscious and stuff.
Yeah.
I just think it's hilarious how after and the thing that kind of ruins the believability on this is, okay, so after they put this random gas into
Mm-hmm.
this specific gas, and somehow it's able to make people be able to tear out their own organs.
Yeah, that's a bit rough. And still be kicking.
And still be beating um guards at armed combat after not eating for how many days.
Ugh.
And then they're still able to put together an entire coherent philosophy thesis at the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
not to mention
It
that
makes it sound no.
not to mention that like it says that they chewed their fingers to their bone. Like you
Yeah.
probably bled out.
How you gonna move? How
Oh,
you gonna
yeah.
move your fingers when you chew them to the bone?
Yeah, it says
That's
like
basic
one of them
number one. How are you gonna not bleed out? Obviously.
got attacked. Yeah, one of them got attacked and he like bled out, but he was still perfectly fine. It's like, homie.
Yeah.
Oops.
I don't know of
Oops.
any gas that would ever make that happen to you.
I mean, it kind of makes it seem like it's more paranormal than anything else,
Yeah.
but it doesn't. Nothing really
It's-
points
it's,
at
it's
like
science fiction
there's no other.
versus fantasy because it's supposed to be based in real life. It's historical sci-fi a little bit, but
Yeah.
almost.
trashy sci-fi horror. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, they give you a kind of a
it definitely
realistic or a
seems
believable
like- Yeah. It's like that movie Apollo 18 where they go to the dark side of the moon. It's like the secret,
Yeah, that was a
secret
fun
going
movie.
on.
The aliens or whatever.
That was a
Local
fun movie.
58.
Aliens are here, man. The aliens are here, man.
That note.
I mean,
So,
did we?
any other thoughts? Like this story? Hate this story?
I remember reading it back. That's when I first started to do. That was actually probably one of the first ones I read when I did the Nick Reed series. That I'm still doing, by the way.
Oh.
It was one of the first ones I ever did, and I like it, but also it came out a long time ago. Like I was probably in high school or before when it came out, so I was an
Yeah.
agey little teen.
I think
Oh,
it
yeah,
definitely is most effective. Like
It is effective when you're a teenager.
when you've read it. Yeah, it's when you're young and when you're
Right.
impressionable and when you've read it for the first time. Because
I'm
like
still
the
impressionable.
thing is
and I'm
with like
20 something.
with some creepypastas, I mean, they're all fake, but they have a lot more believability to
yeah,
it.
Right.
And like you can read it again, and then the more come out like on
Yeah.
the same kind of series, and
The-
it's like,
yeah,
ooh,
the
cool.
one that-
There's like more.
some of
behind
them are, but also back in when I was in high school. Well, all of you, because we're all the same age around here. Back when we were in high school, creepypasta was a lot different. There was, Jeff
That's
the
true.
Killer was running around, and after, I would say, okay, so I'll to bring a little philosophy into this, and Wisecrack talked about this. Horror changed after 9/11. Actually, villains changed after 9/11. So everyone around here, um, all the villains became more relatable, and I would say the turning point for creepypastas might have been around the Dark Knight era, because everyone wanted to be, the new Joker. I think he kind
Oh
of
yeah,
changed. I
yeah.
think he would kind
Good
of
point.
change creepypasta around, 2010. I mean, still, because Jeff the
Right.
Killer was
He
around.
made serial killers sexy.
He did make
Is what
Yeah,
serial
he made
killer
him look
sexy for
cool.
sure. Jeff the Killer was also sexy to a lot of girls. Apparently, I wouldn't know. Emo
I
girls.
mean, Jeff the
Roar
Killer
XD.
is Jeff the Killer is known for being
Yeah.
so popular. It spawned so many, kind of like Sonic spawned how many fan fictions and
Ooh, Sonic
spin-offs.
fan
It's the
fiction.
same thing.
Chronicle
It's the
6.
same
Shit.
thing with yeah. I
Same thing
remember in
with
high
Jeff the
school
Killer.
one of the big like urban legend / creepypastas that was like fresh on the scene was Slender, because the Slender
Oh,
game
hell
came
yeah.
out, and so it was like everyone was crazy on that, and then the Marble Hornets and
Oh
all this
yes,
stuff.
Marble Hornets. That they made a big.
There were a lot
Hmm.
more viral creepypastas back then, like a
That's
lot of
true.
iconic
Yeah, yeah.
individual.
And everyone,
Well,
Cryotic read a bunch of them. I think that guy with the voice read a couple. I'm friends with them. Him. No, I'm not friends with Cryotic. He's a bit too much. So a lot of readings came out back in the day as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's when people
so
started
now-
being able to read those and actually make it get
Yeah,
relatively good.
yeah,
I know,
it,
like
like
when I was in high school, uh, I never really read creepypasta. I think this one might have been the first one that I might have read, actually, if not the first one of the first ones.
yeah,
Um, and I think it was during that time where, I mean, this is what when kind of like when being edgy was cool,
yeah,
Right.
almost.
yes,
yeah, for
definitely.
sure.
So when you had a lot of like, oh, I'm so different. I'm not like other girls, and I'm edgy, and so that's when that was cool, quote unquote, I guess. But I
No,
I
agreed.
think, like, I agree with what Nick said. Like,
Mm,
horror has changed, and the way we're scared
yeah,
has changed over. Because I mean, it used to be where, like, if you watch slasher films from the 80s or even
Oh
before, it
yeah.
oh
was all
yeah, My
about
Bloody
Yeah, definitely.
Valentine,
yeah.
stuff like
Even
stuff like
before
that.
then, like,
Friday
think
the
about George
13th.
Romero. It was
Right.
Oh,
about
Land of the Dead.
like jump scares.
Jump scares for
And
sure.
and now,
Well earned jump scares.
right, and now
True.
if you jump to like Alien and
Oh gosh, Alien's
all
so
It's
these,
a lot more
good.
it's
psychological.
more psychological.
Right.
Yeah. So I
When
think,
when are they gonna jump out big long,
yeah.
uncut,
So
unbroken?
creepypastas definitely are play on
They're
the
they're also
on
more
the
realistic
psychological.
as well. They're more realistic. I would say
Well, yeah,
some of
because
them, some of them are ridiculous.
Marginally, yeah.
well, I
Yeah,
mean, the ones that you read, like on No Sleep and other ones,
yeah,
it's curated now, because
yeah,
people have the people like us that have read them in high school, have continued reading them, have grown more of a taste for them,
yeah,
and now that the community's open to, this is what a good pasta is, this is what it is. So these kind
Yeah,
of
that's
things
true.
like Russian
yeah,
Sleep Experiment, I think, kind of falls in the in between, because
yeah. It's like
it's a believable premise that's not poorly written. Like grammatically, it's fine. It's not.
yeah,
It doesn't take you out of the story. There are a few issues as far as like what the monsters are that are kind
yeah.
of like, okay,
Right.
But that
but
was
I would
back in
say
the day
it's
as well. But when creepypastas were
right,
still sort of ish new, they weren't
right,
as prevalent as now, where anyone can sign on and just
right.
go and make a crappy little story.
So would you guys say this one is more
I would say this is.
would you say this one stands out among the ones that were big at
At the
I
time,
would say so.
yeah, it was Slender Man. Obvious, Slender Man was like the hot boy,
Yeah.
for sure. Slender
Yeah,
Man,
definitely.
Jeff the Killer. Who else was big back in the day? Oh,
the rake
the
and stuff like
abandoned
that?
Disneyland
Yeah, the
ride.
rake.
The
I would say
Rake,
it's a lot
yeah,
of like individuals, and I think one of the reasons why this stands out is because like it's not about individual, and it's also like based in like history. So
Right.
when you first read it, it's a lot more believable. You're like, oh,
Well,
Right.
it's kind of like what I was the stories that I presented last time were really all good horror stories have a sliver of truth or something that connects them to the real world, and that's
true. Yep.
the believable factor, and that's what gets people hooked on it, I would say. So
Mhm.
same with creepypasta.
Yeah, but like Noah
I
was
think we can all
saying,
agree that we. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, like Noah was saying, like this one kind of does, like you said, does stand out because it's also written as kind of almost a historical telling. It's not like it's not written as a third person. Ben walked into the room and picked up the da 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 and went on like that. It's like a in the 1940s, and it's vague
Yeah,
enough that
yeah.
you think, oh, okay,
Yeah.
maybe this is some sort of
Mm.
Yeah, definitely. I think it. I think that's definitely the best reason it works is because of the setting that it's based.
Yeah, to me, a
Yeah.
good story needs to have something grounded in
Absolutely.
truth. Otherwise, you're
Oh
not
yeah,
going to
for
believe
sure.
it.
absolutely.
Yep.
So I would suggest this as a good entry level creepypasta if you've never read one before.
Mhm.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
you
I
want to
think it
get
was.
into it. This would be a pretty good one to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be. I think it's the introduction point for all of us, right? Like, I
Yeah, I
mean,
think
this was
that's what we
definitely the
meant.
first one I found out about.
Me too.
Yeah, so definitely a beginner one.
Yeah. Uh,
Should we move on?
yes, for sure. We've been talking about this one long enough. The next one that we had up on the list was another one that everyone knows about. Well, not everyone. It's the Smiling Man. They made a couple videos about this back in the day. I know there was a creepypasta short film made.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Um,
I actually don't know about this one.
I watched. Hold on. When we were back in, when we were roommates together, we tried to watch it, and you were like, "I've already seen this. It's not very good." It was a creepy pasta.
Oh.
It's that guy. He lived in a big
Well,
city
wait.
downtown in a major city, and he saw a guy walking. He started dancing, waltzing in the middle of the street, and every time he would finish like the box on a dance, he would step forward,
Waltz.
and then his face was face towards the sky. He was dancing by himself, and then he like sprints across the street. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's like yeah. So this guy's he's walking around at late at night, sees this guy, and he's kind of like, this guy's drunk or whatever, and then he sees that the guy's like always smiling, always looking up or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's like, okay, weird. He walks away, turns around, and the guy's like charging at him, and so then he books it and gets away, and that's basically.
More or less. Yeah, that's a story.
Hmm. I cut out on the last part, so can
Yeah,
you
you
re-explain
cut
it?
out. You cut
Okay.
out.
I cut out.
Yeah, you did.
I believe so.
You're cutting out right now.
Who cut out?
You?
Andrew.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Behind the
Another
scenes, I'm here for
recap.
you guys.
For the second time.
it's some normal guy. We don't know anything about the author, and it's written from the first perspective. So it's just, I was walking this town. I was at night, and this weird guy starts kind of doing this weird dance, looking at the sky and smiling. I get creeped out, so I walk away. I turn around, and he's charging at me, and so I book it, and that's basically the story.
Yeah, that's true.
So it doesn't explain anything. It just kind of presents
Yeah,
this
No.
and
it presents
Right.
this scenario. It doesn't even say what city is in. It starts off with, about 5 years ago, I lived downtown in a major city in the U.S. And then it's like, okay, cool, that could be any of them.
so he's just trying to be vague.
Probably New York is probably some gross homeless man.
I mean,
That's an epidemic.
yeah,
We don't know.
Or
It's,
LA, honestly.
it's written like I don't know if you've ever been on the subreddit Let's Not Meet,
Yes, I know. Let's not.
Which
That's
is
a good one.
which is basically like No Sleep, except it's for real
Yeah,
experiences.
for real experiences.
And it's
Oh,
written
kinda
kind of like that.
Oh, interesting. Kind of like Glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah, they're sort of. The Let's Not Meet, it's really creepy. It's mostly people like, this guy was drunk and he smashed a bottle and held it to my neck, sort of thing. And you're like, whoa, bud, it's real, and it's
Yeah, it's like,
freaky.
Oh,
this is an experience I had that was really weird a long time ago, and they'll
So,
talk
Not
about
like-
their
with
the
sleep
bottle?
paralysis.
Well,
Not
let's
like
not meet.
paranormal stuff.
No, it's
Well, I mean,
real. It's
yeah,
based in
I mean,
reality. I mean,
there are
someone's
some.
obviously faking it.
Well, there are some paranormal stories, but the whole premise of it
Yeah,
is
it's
like
supposed to
it
be
has to be an experience
a
you
real person.
or yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, usually they typically only take submissions that are like, "Oh, I saw this creepy guy and he did this thing," or I found a guy in my garage or something like. So
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of the same realm. This creepy pasta.
Okay.
So
So
in a
why do you think this one became so popular? Because I mean, if it was one of the most popular ones, it's not super. I mean, it doesn't. To me, it's not very chilling. But
It's not chilling. It's just been around for a long time, and people have gotten exposure to it, and written well enough to where it could be kind of believable. Maybe there's nothing too much paranormal about it or extraterrestrial. It's just some creepy guy with a super wide smile, dancing in the middle of the night. So it seems real enough.
yeah,
Um,
like a lot of creepy pasta, kind of you have to suspend your
yeah,
disbelief as
yeah.
this kind of monster doesn't exist. But
Mm-hmm.
this is one that's like you could legitimately have something like this happen, and there are many stories of people who have experiences with people like this who are like, this is legitimately scary.
Yeah, absolutely. Um,
are there any like theories behind
theories
what
behind
it
it?
possibly could be?
Not that I'm aware of. It's just some creepy guy. Um, I'm not sure. I'm trying to look up. See.
Yeah, because at one point in the story, the narrator, who we don't even know if it's a girl or a guy or what the
Yeah.
name is, he says that he was like, okay, whatever. So he crossed the street and then he looked over and then there he was. And then eventually they were at a car's distance away from each other. And then
Mm-hmm.
the smiling guy turned around and then like he was walking away and the narrator kind of like, oh, thank God. But then he turned around and then dude was booking at him. Like he was running towards him. So then the narrator booked it and just, I guess, outran the dude. And what's really,
Sort of. He ran until he was off the sidewalk. Um,
yeah,
looking behind him to make sure he wasn't there, and then he like didn't turn around. He like glanced over his shoulder the rest of the way home, but he never like after he ran. He didn't see the guy after that, and then he never.
yeah.
He lived there for 6 more months, and then he never went out after for
And
walking.
an interesting detail is that the guy, the smiling man, wasn't just walking normally
Yeah, he
towards the
was
narrator. He
dancing. He
was
was
taking,
waltzing.
well, at
Sort
first
of.
he was dancing, and then he was
Yeah.
taking really long,
Super
exaggerated
exaggerated,
steps,
creepy. Like yeah,
like in a cart. Like it even mentions like in a cartoon character. He
yeah. Tiptoed
like
step
in
is like a
Tom
very
and
cartoon
Jerry. Yeah,
character.
Like the Ministry of Silly Walks.
The part that freaks me out is it's very very quickly. So like imagine the creepy Tom and Jerry walk where he's slinking around, but like extremely fast. It's really weird.
Yeah.
So he's booking it while doing the weird step.
Yeah, I'm
yes.
gonna see if I can like pull up a
Oh,
video
that's
of
weird.
it. Sorry for all the podcast
Oh,
listeners who is not watching.
okay. So I'm actually looking at. I pulled it up on
Yeah,
creepypasta fandom. This
yeah, that's
actually
what I'm on.
originally was posted on Let's Not Meet. So it's
Oh,
actually based on a real event that the author experienced, and he later admitted that he made some embellishments, like the guy that he encountered wasn't waltzing around and stuff like that. But apparently, he did have an encounter with a weird guy that was like giving him a weird smile and kind of chased him down a little bit.
Homie was probably just nuts. Like he probably was just.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
drugs, or something like that. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, he said he didn't look drunk and he didn't look high, but
That
I mean,
sounds
homie was probably
pretty.
just like on
Yeah.
Molly.
I mean, the author did make some embellishments, so we don't know exactly what
True, true.
is true and what isn't. So it could be that maybe he did just have a run in with a creepy drunk guy,
Yeah.
and the guy followed him around or whatever, and it creeped him out. So then it inspired him to write this verse.
Mm.
Why do you guys think it was so popular? Like, what about it is
I think it's
just
just because of
hook?
how it could actually happen. Like that's part
Yeah,
of it.
how relatable it is.
I also think that it's because I think kind of like the Russian sleep experiment was this one of the first creepypastas that came around?
It might have been.
What,
I'm not
Russian sleep
quite
experiment
sure.
or
Oh,
this one?
this one.
I'm not sure. I don't know that. Uh, I don't think it
Definitely,
was. It's definitely not one
was
of the
in the
first.
golden.
Not one of the
Yeah, it's definitely in the
first
golden
ones.
age of the. Like it definitely was in the time where
It's not, yeah,
creepypastas were big.
when
So
they were at their peak, you know.
yeah,
Um, I'm a
yeah.
big fan of it. It's not a bad one. It is definitely one of the.
I mean, it's definitely unsettling. Like I wouldn't.
That's
Yeah.
I don't
true.
think any of
I
us would
wouldn't
want
want
that
to.
to
I
happen.
wouldn't want to be caught, you know, with
I mean,
that
because
guy running through
Yeah.
the parts.
you don't know what he's up to.
What he's up to?
I think for me personally, I read it and it was one of those I read. I was like, that's kind of weird, and then I just forgot about it
Yeah,
because
same.
the thing is with when I want to read a spooky story, I want to have something be like, whoa, that's like crazy, or that's and and when I'm reading creepypasta, I understand like there is that. It's the same thing as when you're reading a book. You understand that this didn't happen,
Yeah,
but you still want to be
Right.
invested and involved in
absolutely.
it anyway. So it's less interesting to me to read a story that's actually that actually happened. Like I read a lot of those Let's Not Meet. Some of them are
Yeah,
like, "Well, that would scare the crap out of me in real life," but as a story, it's not as fun to hear
yeah,
about.
No, yeah, that's true.
for
Uh,
sure, for
yeah,
sure.
it does have the aspect of believability though, which makes it
Right,
a good story.
right.
But
It's
it's
def
also is a little short and it's got no crazy twist. It's just unsettling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So I can
it's just
understand
a
what you're.
crazy encounter he had, and that's the kind of story that you would hear from if somebody told. If like I came in next week and was like, guys, you wouldn't believe what happened to me, and you'd be like, whoa, that's crazy. It's like
I
it has that
actually. You go ahead.
has the what?
it has that feel that of like a personal. It's definitely the personal
Yeah,
story.
for sure.
Yeah. I actually do have a spooky story, but I don't know. We can save it
Uh,
till
we can do it
the
at
I
the
end.
end.
did. Yeah, we can do it at the end. We're moving quite along.
Right, of course. I was just saying like I have a story to tell
Yeah,
in
sure.
case
I
Go
on
did.
the
ahead.
I was actually
podcast
that
or
was actually
post.
something I didn't mention last week because I would like to at some point in one of these episodes before the month ends talk about personal, like did something weird happen to you or someone you know, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Nope.
Yeah.
I never
No.
had until and I'm not really the paranormal believing person, but I actually
I'm interested,
Got a
but
story.
Yeah, for sure.
let's
All
I
right.
guess are we done talking about this one?
Yes.
Anyway,
The next one is. I don't think we should. I don't have anything to add about that one. Do you?
no,
doesn't seem like there's much to add.
Mm. All right. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This next one I didn't get a chance to read because sometimes life comes up.
yeah.
But we're gonna be talking about Uncle Jerry's, or yeah. Hold on. I gotta see it right. Uncle Jerry's Family Fun Zone.
This one
Hmm.
is one of my personal favorites.
I'll go ahead and pull it up.
I can see why.
Yeah. So I can go ahead and to break it down a little bit. So the basic concept is uh, there's the main character who's not actually involved in the spooky event. He's hearing it as a secondhand tale, but
Mm.
he has this recording studio and he likes to get his friends in there and tell random stories. Just kind of talk about stuff. He's got this. He's friends with this married couple that they've been married for a while, and they at dinner one night they bring up the fact that this experience they both had when they were in high school because they both went to high school together about Uncle Jerry's Family Fun Zone. So he starts asking them about it, and they're like, "Hey, why don't we talk about it on the recording?" So he interviews them each separately about what this place is, and the legend has it that way back in the '70s, Uncle Jerry, whoever he was, built this fun zone, this like farm themed fun zone with slides and all the kind of like a Chuck E. Cheese type place,
Yeah.
um, out in the middle of the country for kids. And so at some point, this kid goes down the slide. This like 6-year-old kid goes down the slide, goes into a giant ball pit, and never comes out.
Oh.
And when they drain the ball pit and look for him, they don't find anything. But there is at the bottom of the pit a trap door. So everyone's like, "What the heck?" So they open the door, they go in, and there's a crawl space that goes down what was like about 20 feet underneath it, and then just ends. And there's nothing down there,
Huh.
and they never saw the kid again. So the legend goes that Uncle Jerry got a bad reputation from that because this kid went missing and on his property, and eventually closed the place and moved on and never heard of it again. and it's like an urban legend in the town that Uncle Jerry's is a thing and it's out there, but no one seems to know where it is or anything else about it. So as he's interviewing them, Catherine, the lady, starts talking about it, how she's trying to write an article on it for the school paper, and that's how she meets Will, because Will's kind of interested in her and starts
Mm.
helping her out with the article. And the way she tells it, everybody knows about it, but nobody knows anything specific. They all tell the same story, but nobody knows where it was or anything like that. And eventually, their papers get nowhere, and she's like, she's getting frustrated. Till finally, Will shows up one day and is like, I know where it is.
Oh.
And she's like, well, how did you figure that out? She's like, well, I found these instructions on how to get there out of this old book in the library. And she's like, what? And he's like, well, we'll go out there. I'll go out there first, check and see if it's real, and if it is, you can show up and we'll go explore it. And so she shows up later, and there it is. It's real. And she starts exploring the place. They start exploring the place. They find it's like at night at this point, of course, and they find this. They find the crawl space, and everything is exactly like it was described. And they're like, what? And then they go into the crawl space, kind of look around, and that's when they hear somebody drop into the pit above them and start walking around. And they're like, oh, so they're hiding in, scared out of their lives. Something enters the tunnel with them, stays there for a while, and then leaves. And they never figure. And she's like, after that, she's like, they're like, and that was the experience, and something creepy happened.
Mm.
And then he talks to Will. And you'd think, oh, it's going to be the same story. But there are some very key differences in the way he tells it that really start throwing a wrench into the whole system. Because the way he tells it is nobody knew about it. When they were asking everybody where it was, nobody had any idea what they were talking about. And they're like, what are you talking about? And then they'd tell him the story, and he'd be like, yeah, I don't know anything about that. And apparently, according to Will, Catherine was obsessed with this place, and she would not let it go and whatever. So it started to kind of freak him out a little bit until one night he's in his room, and he looks out the window, and there's this old guy standing at the end of his driveway. He puts something in the mailbox, looks straight up at him, and then, of course, Will drops down and hides, and later comes down to check it. The guy's gone, and he finds the instructions to the place
Mm.
in his mailbox, and that's what the guy left behind. And so he's like, he's thoroughly freaked out by now. And he also doesn't trust Catherine anymore because she's so obsessed with this thing. So he runs a test. He tells her where to go, but he sends her in the wrong direction. But she shows up at the right place anyway. And so then when they go in and they investigate, the same kind of thing happens. There are a few minor differences as to, like, according to Catherine, she was really scared, and Will was kind of like shepherding her and getting her through it. But according to him, she was like pulling him through the whole thing and, like, really excited to be there. And then when they get into the tunnel or whatever, the same sort of thing. Somebody gets in the tunnel, and at the end of the tunnel, Will hears a voice come from the end of the tunnel and says, "Not young enough," and then whatever it is leaves. So and so then it's like and then the question is, and of course this story freaks out the main character dude, who is like, I don't know what I should do with this because I feel like I shouldn't keep this file, but at the same time it's too crazy to let go, and that's the basic story.
Yeah. One other thing though, at the end of the story, I believe he's at. I think the husband ends up telling the guy, or
Oh
either
yeah, I
the
forgot about
main
this.
guy
Yeah.
is at the house of them, and the girl, the wife, like, is there's some kid over at some sort of family event or something like that, and I think it might be his kids, or
Right.
His Will's brother. Is that
Oh
what you're
yeah,
talking
when they
about?
were in I mean, yeah,
They were in
basic
college and
when they were in high school, Will was kind of put off by Catherine, or what's her name? Is it Catherine or Caroline? I can't remember.
Carolyn.
Caroline. Okay. He's put off by her because she seems to be way more interested in his 2-year-old brother than in him at all.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
he's kind of like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then I think what you're talking about, Noah, is at the very end, after they have that dinner and whatever. Of course, the main character doesn't tell anybody what he's heard. He doesn't tell either. He doesn't tell either of them what they said, and he doesn't share the file or anything. But she shows up because she left her jacket there, and she shows up, and she's and another interesting twist in this, or an interesting note, is the main character and Caroline dated in college for a short time, and they kind of joke as that, as like, well, that happened in an alternate universe because neither of them really felt like it was real
Yeah.
or
But
anything.
she brings that up, and he's kind of put
Yeah,
off by it.
yeah, she brings it up. He's kind of put off by it, but then she looks at his kid, and his kid's like 7 years old, and before she leaves, she says, "Not young enough."
Oh.
So it's like, that's really weird. And also, Will mentions to the main character, he's like, yeah, she was never the same after that night, and there's something wrong with her, and I knew it.
Uh.
So for some reason, I knew she wanted to have kids, so I refused to give that to her.
Ooh.
So he said that he had a vasectomy in college, and that she's really kind of upset, and she mentions it later that they've been married 9 years and they've never had any kids, and she's all like, kind of broken up by it. But he says it's because he said, I knew that I had to be the one to marry her because I couldn't let anyone else, because I'm the only one that knows what she is.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
I definitely agree. This is one of the best ones I've read. So
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna read it. Right up. Also, like right after.
Yeah, it's really good.
One of the I'm looking here in the comments. Someone has a pretty darn good theory. It's describing.
Yeah, there's some crazy theories.
Yeah, the first, like the top one up here is my theory. The child that was lost in the ball pit is a red herring. Ignore it. The thing that the people missed was Will gave Carolyn wrong directions, 40 miles away from where he was, yet she appears. And to Carolyn, the directions were perfect. If they both weren't with or it's like, what if they weren't both with each other? What if they went to two different places? What if the Will that Carolyn met wasn't really Will, and vice versa? Both mentioned how out of character the other was. What if they were with an entity the whole time? And the most disconcerting thing of all, what if they were each from a parallel universe, and the cross base act as a funnel into the universe? So, like
Yeah,
you
I
were saying,
really
the parallel universe.
I really do
thing.
like that theory.
That's the number one theory around these parts.
That's one. Yeah, that's one of them. Another one that it's. I mean, most of the theories stem from parallel universes
Yes.
Yeah.
because
Or
it's a
another
lot of
entity around here.
yeah. There's a lot of clues indicating that, but a lot of it has to do with Caroline. A lot of people, like, I've heard one that says that the kid that disappeared was Caroline, and that
True. True.
she
Oh
and
my
and
goodness.
when she came back from whatever the universe was, her goal is to, whatever that creature was, is her goal is to find another kid to replace her or something like that,
Oh.
to sacrifice it, which is why she was interested in why she's so interested in kids.
Yeah,
That's
Mm.
the
that's my personal favorite theory. And in
True
fact, have
that.
any of you
True
guys
that.
seen Us
Yeah, I
by
was literally about to say that because
yeah, it's very
yeah,
much
I
like
have
Us.
not. I have not seen it.
it
Oh,
isn't that the Jordan Peele movie?
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
It deals
Yeah.
with a lot of like
I
the
watched
idea that
the kill count on that. Dead Meat, they're pretty good. They're good. Shout out to Dead Meat.
yeah, those that story, Us, and this story have kind of similar ideas when it comes
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
people disappearing and then coming back different. So
yeah.
I for some reason I got the idea that I was like, I wonder if Jordan Peele like read this and got inspired, but I don't know.
Nah, probably not.
But that's my personal favorite theory is that she's the kid from the crawl space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and replaced the original.
Because yeah, because it would make sense why everyone in her universe has heard about it, but to Will,
Yeah.
Nobody
he's
knows
like,
about
"What the hell are you talking?"
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure.
And it also, and then the whole main character dating her in a quote unquote alternate universe, maybe he dated a
Mhm.
different version. If
Different
there's maybe
version.
more than one version running around or something like that, I don't know. I
Mm.
mean, I could easily see this happening as, um, like they said that or he noticed that she was different after that night. Maybe when he sent her in the wrong direction, like you said, she ended up with a different version. That version ended up with a different version of Will, but that one was replaced by whatever the creature,
Yeah, whatever
this
this
version.
one is.
Well, here's another interesting idea. So Will gave Caroline the wrong directions to get to the place,
Yeah,
right?
Yes.
But what if Caroline never even read the directions, and she
She just
knew how to
knew
get there.
subconsciously how to get there.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
she had
no,
been there
well,
or just
she had
knew
been there
straight up.
before, so when Will gave her the wrong directions, she was like, "Oh, I got him now." I
Ooh,
guess I got him now. He's gonna be there. I don't even have to read this direction, so she just showed up.
damn.
And she's trying to sacrifice. And she was trying to sacrifice Will, but when the monster came down and said not young enough, then she
That
was like,
makes
"I have to
sense.
go. I gotta go."
Oh, yeah,
Hmm.
I guess I never. Yeah, I never thought about it that way. But I don't know if she was trying to sacrifice Will necessarily, but definitely she seems to be linked with whatever creature uh
Yeah.
walked
Yeah,
down there
definitely.
somehow.
I mean,
Hmm.
it would make sense that she was trying to sacrifice Will because she was never interested in the kids until after they went there. Is that
Right.
correct?
Well,
Well,
he did say that she was more interested in her in his younger brother, and that was before they found it.
Yeah.
So
that would
there is
definitely
that.
play
But
into the theory that she's the kid.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking it could be a situation where she's interested in the younger brother because maybe she was around that age when she got abducted. So she's like, she knows that that would work, but at the same time, she couldn't get to that. So she's like, well, I'll see if will work, and then it didn't. The next question I have though is who's the old man? Is he the creature?
Yeah. This
Because
other
if he is
entity.
yeah, if he is the creature that wants to take Will or wants to take the kid, why first of all, how does he know that Will needs the directions? And second of all, why would Caroline even need to be in
Well, what if the old man was Caroline in
Ooh,
disguise?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
maybe.
Ah,
Like, because Carolyn knew already. That's why they both went to
yeah.
the same
Yeah.
place. I feel like also
That's an interesting theory.
the tunnel isn't the portal. I feel like the whole place is the portal because
Yeah.
like the creature didn't come out of the tunnel. The creature
No.
came from somewhere inside the building. So I mean, it's not really a huge note, but it was
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair guess that the I don't know what the tunnel's probably just a red herring, or maybe that's the place where
Maybe.
the connection is the strongest.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Hmm.
There needs to be an update to this one, I would say. Maybe just like
Right.
close a few loop. This is 2015, so it is a couple years old.
Yeah,
Actually, it was
I looked
posted
at
in
the user.
yeah.
I looked at the user profile, and he hasn't written anything on it since. I don't think he intends to.
Yeah,
But
right
I
One
think
of
before.
the
I kind of like it like that
Yeah.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
true.
I
because
mean,
it's like it has enough closure within the story itself that it feels like a complete story, but there's enough questions and mysteries left open that it's like it leaves you thinking. And that's the kind of story I really enjoy.
yeah, that's true. Not enough like loose ends that it doesn't make sense and needs a sequel, but enough loose ends that it's like it gets you talking about it, like what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I would like to see some sort of like it'd be interesting to see what like is actually happening, but I agree. It definitely.
Like
Yeah, I don't
maybe a
think it.
part two,
Yeah.
possibly.
Part of the mystique behind it.
Yeah, maybe a prequel. I don't know.
Prequel.
I
Hmm.
think you should just leave it as it is.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Sometimes you
I
don't
think it's
need
okay.
as much as humans
Sometimes
we
mysteries are
want
okay.
closure, but we also want mystery. So sometimes you got to satisfy
Right.
one or the other. You can't have both.
Well, that's the point of like, so in music, and I guess also in stories, you have the tension and the resolution.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so there's when I was in college, I played in the band, and we played this piece that it was originally a folk song, and the
Mm.
folk song tells the story of these two guys that got in trouble because, well, they got into a fight because one owed the other one money, and one of them ended up killing the other. Anyway, so the end of the piece ends in a doesn't resolve. So and if you don't know about music, resolving means that you go back to like the the main chord, so to speak, the one chord, the tonic, and everything feels at ease. But
Mm.
this piece doesn't end on the tonic. I think it ends on the four, so it feels very dissonant. But it's supposed to feel dissonant. It's supposed to feel You're supposed to feel the tension. So it's kind of like this story. It doesn't end on the tonic, quote unquote. It doesn't resolve. You don't feel at ease. It's not Disney. You're supposed to feel that tension and that awkwardness, and
Yeah.
that's the beauty behind it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's a good analogy.
That's a good, yeah. Look at you, music major, tying it to music. I
Good,
like
it
that though.
would
That
help
is a
me.
good analogy. All right, let's see. We got 10 minutes left because I don't try. We try not to run them over an hour too much. So we want to talk about some crappy pastas. Is that what you want to talk about? Ian?
Oh boy, yeah.
Yes.
I have there's the website, you can look these up yourself, of course,
I'll pull it up.
crappypasta.com.
Oh yeah.
And there's so many on there. You're not even going to be able to read them all. And a lot of them are, once you read a bunch of them, you're like, okay, I kind of get the gist. A lot of them are, oh man, it's a Jack the Killer ripoff.
Spoof.
Again.
Yeah.
But some of these, and some of them are parodies. Some of them are parodies
Yeah.
of creepypastas, and those are great too.
Some popular
Um,
ones.
but I wanted to read. There's one I found. That's just so bad that it's amazing, and it's called The Story.
The story. That's it.
The Story. That's what it's called. It's short, so don't worry. We're not gonna sit here all night.
But that's what I want.
But
That's what I want.
oh, is it? I mean,
No,
'cause
I'm
we
just
could
kidding.
sit here all night reading.
We could sit here all night reading, but I mean, no one's gonna listen to it like our first podcast.
All right.
3 hours long, talking about Star Wars.
All right. So go ahead and give you a heads up, a disclaimer. This does have some bad language. So if you're a child
Don't you
or
dare.
yeah, don't that's gonna be a problem. But
How bad language are we
here we
talking?
go.
Do you
The
need to
story.
censor it for this?
Like
NSFW.
we're not talking. We're talking about like your standard YouTube bad language.
Okay,
we're not talking
okay.
about like we're not talking about like, oh man, we're gonna go off and just completely
No F bombs.
No, there are,
Oh,
but
okay.
that's yeah.
Ugh.
I if you want me to, I can censor them.
Nah, just read it as it is.
Gotta say
Alright.
frick instead.
Nah, read it as it
Okay.
is. It's gonna sound stupid if you don't.
I mean,
Actually-
it's so badly written, it sounds stupid anyway.
I feel like
Okay.
if you say
So-
frick, it would actually be kind of hilarious.
I mean, it's hilarious either way. So,
Well, discretion's up to you. Go for it.
all right, I'll do it. All right, it's called the.
Oop, you cutting out.
You are. Am I still cutting out?
Yep.
Okay. Great. So you're not gonna be able to hear it.
No.
Wow.
If you want me to read it,
great.
send it to me. I'll send it in the link and I'll read it real quick.
Okay. It's definitely bad grammar, so you're gonna stumble over some stuff.
We need to fix this.
Wait, let's have Benny
Oh, you cut out now.
because
I'm here.
first. Okay, hold on. Let's have Benny read it because he hasn't read something.
Oh, there you go. Benny, read it.
Send me the link or something.
I'm working on it.
We should probably cut this part out from the VOD.
No, absolutely not. This stays in.
Just because
Alright,
you hate
friends.
editing.
Okay, listen here now. You try editing. It's not fun. It's my least favorite thing. I'm gonna start paying someone to edit my stuff.
I like editing.
Ugh,
90%
can
of the
edit
If you
it.
wanna-
I'll send it
video
to
that-
If
you.
you want to send it to me, I'll
I'll send
edit
it
it.
to you. You put credits in there. Edited by.
We'll
Here,
figure
let me
it
see if
out.
I can find it on my phone right quick.
I looked up the story and I couldn't
I
find it.
couldn't
It's all
find it
the
either.
story of this. The story of her holding an organ.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting that too. I have it pulled up on my computer, but I didn't have it on my phone. So if I'm gonna send the link, it's gonna be
You don't have Discord on the computer?
I do.
I don't have. I mean, I don't. I'm not logged in. Hold on.
This is
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
sure.
I don't have Discord on the computer because my
Oh,
my
well,
I can't pick up audio with my mother.
with your motherboard.
ooh, oh right, I forgot.
Oops. The story.
We'll have
Just
to
the
entertain all
story?
the. Do we have any people watching on the Twitch?
Just me.
Nice. Okay, so nobody's
The story of her holding an orange, part 2.
part 2, part 3, part 5,
Oh,
part
yeah,
6,
part
and
1.
link to the end. That's a lot of stories.
Gosh.
Do you guys want me to tell my story post episode or on another podcast? Like on another episode?
Not sure.
It's not-
It is better.
Personally, I personally would like to hear it. So maybe after we're finished recording.
After we're finished recording, or you want to do it on recording?
I mean, we could do another episode where we tell our.
I mean, I
personal
could tell it
stories and you
again.
could tell it again.
Yeah.
I can record
It's not.
it.
It's
I
not
can-
incredibly scary.
Oh, there we go.
Okay,
got it.
I got it. I got it.
Found you.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna open it.
All right, who's gonna read it?
You can. You don't
I
read.
think this story is fake. I don't think it's a real attempt, but
Nick,
it's still hilarious.
Nick, won't you read it?
You
Your
want me to
computer.
read it?
Yeah, go ahead, read it.
All right. All right. Should I pull it up on the screen or just leave it in just this creepy background?
Pull it up on the screen. It
Alright.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
Jamie, pull it up.
Jamie, pull it up. You were camping in the woods with your dog and friend. Your friend says, "Heard about any scary stories?" Mike said, "You say, yeah, want me to tell you it?" Mike says, "Sure." You say, "Okay, it's called Slender Man. He is a myth or legend. He takes little kids while their parents are looking. If a parent sees the kid and Slender Man nearby, the kid can see him, parent can't see him. So everyone so everyone barely goes to the woods because Slender Man is in the woods." Mike says, "Oh yeah, right. You're trying to freak me out since I can't watch Ghost Hunters because I would pee my pants by the time the good part happens, bitch." You say
What?
You say, "For real, when we get back to town, go look for Slender in the library, pussy."
Oh my goodness.
says, Mike says, "Oh, whatever, bitch. Hey, where's your dog?" You say, "I don't know." Mike says, "Oh, there he is inside our tent." You say, "Speaking of our tent, we should get to sleep." Mike says, "Yeah, you're right. Make sure zip the tent too." You say, "Why are you scared that Slender Man might get you, huh?" Oh, wait, sorry. Huh? Mike
It's
says,
supposed to be why are you
Why?
scared? But the
Yeah.
way it's written is just
huh?
why are you scared that Slenderman
Yeah.
might get you?
Huh? Mike says, "No, sometimes I get cold, especially in winter." You say, "Yeah, you're
Espa-
right." Yeah. "Yeah, you're right." You and Mike get inside your tent, then zips it up. 10 minutes later, you hear a scream. You say, "Mike!" Mike wakes up. "You heard that scream too, didn't you?" You say, "Yeah." You, "Yeah, should we check it out?" Mike says, "Yeah, but not that, but not that long. It's very late." You say, "Okay." You and Mike find a mansion. Mike says, "Wow."
Just randomly.
Yeah, mention the woods, Minecraft. "Wow, when we was getting ready to camp, that mansion wasn't there." You say, "You're fucking right, Mike." Mike says, "Hey, let's go inside." You say, "Yeah." Mike tries to open the door. Oh wait, hold on, I lost my place. Yeah.
Mike
But
tries
it's
to
locked.
"Hey,
open the
let's go inside." You say, "Yeah." Mike tries to open the doors, but it's locked. You say, "It's locked, Mike." He says, "You're very fucking right." You say, "You we should go around to find the key." Mike says, "Okay." Mike, you and your dog looks for the key. Mike searches the mailbox, then finds the key in there. Mike says, "I found the key." You say, "Open the doors now." Mike opens the door with the key. You say, "Wow, this place is so huge." Mike says, "It looks like a 1830s mansion, right?" You say, "So fucking true, bro." Mike says, "Let's explore the mansion." You and Mike and your dog searches the mansion as a team. Mike says, "Holy sh!" Mike gets grabbed in the legs and dragged down a hallway. You say, "Fuck, no." Mike's body goes to your location and skin is all cut. You say, "Oh my fucking gosh, I gotta get out of here." Your dog gets skinned randomly and you get killed.
and scene.
And scene. The
Yeah.
story.
Wow.
January 2nd, 2013.
That is
Yeah, they're
That
gonna
is
make a
amazing.
movie about that.
Very amazing. More of that.
That's
please.
So
that's a beauty right there.
Oh yeah,
Where'd the dog come from? The dog just randomly showed up.
Yeah, in the mansion too.
Better than Suicide Squad.
Better than Suicide Squad? I don't know. What are we? Some kind of Suicide Squad?
The dog had more screen time than the Joker.
The dog had
Right.
more screen time than Jared Leto.
The dog had more screen time than Brie Larson in Endgame.
Then Brie Larson in Endgame? Oh my
Yeah, dude.
gosh. She got her whole movie. All the people who like. Never mind. Never mind.
That's a topic for another day.
Yes, for sure.
The Captain Marvel sucked.
Ugh.
I said it. I'm not scared. I'm not ashamed.
There's no bad
Nah,
guy.
you're
There's no
right.
bad guy. Okay. All right.
That's it.
All right.
Wow.
There's
was
so
Your
really
many.
dog
good,
There's
gets skinned, and randomly you get killed.
yeah, randomly you.
Your dog gets randomly skinned and you die.
Not the dog.
Not El Pupper.
I just
Poor
like
little
the
doggy.
whole. I just like the whole. Oh right, you're trying to freak me out because I
You're
can't watch
trying to
Ghost
freak me
Hunters without
out?
peeing my pants. Bitch.
Bitch. All right. Anything else to add? I mean, we did have some other
Yes,
ones, but
actually,
we
I
are
have-
an hour.
I have
in.
one more thing to add.
One more thing to add. Tell me.
This one is very short.
Very short.
It's
okay.
called. Yeah, it's like 2 sentences. It's called Marana. Marana.
Marana?
She
Oh, sorry.
She is a 17-foot tall woman with fingernails that touch the floor. She murdered her family and friends when she was 12. Now she walks the swamps with blood dripping from empty eye sockets, crying for her beloved dog, Carmel.
Beautiful.
The,
That's it.
that's the spoops for the night.
I'm looking
That's
for
Better than
definitely-
Suicide Squad.
It's
Still
not
better
as
than
scary
Suicide
as the
Squad?
story.
Better than Wonder
No,
Woman.
the story
Ooh,
is
got
so
he.
much scary.
Ooh.
So
I mean, I
much
almost-
scary.
I almost peed my pants listening to the story, honestly.
Honestly.
Just like
my
Mike
dog got
did when he
skinned.
watches Ghost Hunt.
Ghost Hunter stories. Reddit no. BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Oh my gosh.
My girlfriend loves it.
Your girlfriend loves that? Mine too.
Why?
Should we watch
Why?
it? Should we watch it?
What is it
No.
with
Why?
women?
I don't
wanna watch
What is it with women and unsolved crimes?
Women in
And
Unsolved Crimes? There are men who
Yeah.
watch it too.
Well, a lot of
I
these
wouldn't be
stories that
surprised.
you'll no, if you actually pay attention, a lot of the stories on this CreeyPasta website that we just read from are about murderers are by females.
They're all the writers.
I
are
wonder
all females?
why.
No, for some
Not
reason,
all of
women-
them. Not all of them, but a lot of the ones that are like Jack the Killer with the sexy killers
Ooh, sexy
are
killers.
female. Like
That's-
14-year-old, you can
okay,
tell it's like
That's a bit much. But, I mean, it's a bit
Yeah, for
true.
some
It's-
reason-
yeah.
For some reason, women are really into and I like I've
True
asked a lot of
crime?
different. Yeah, they're for whatever reason they're super into like true crime, Discovery ID type
My
stuff.
mom
I don't know
loves
why.
true
Like, what's
crime.
the
That's
appeal?
true.
Yeah,
don't
why
know.
do you think those shows are so popular? Because like none of us watch them.
We
No, I'm not saying- not in a ba-
like the original
I'm not s-
Teen Titans.
That's not what I meant.
we don't watch that trash.
That's not what I meant. I meant like there's a market for it. That's
No,
why
No,
they're
true.
still
there definitely
around.
is. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I
what's
don't
the
know.
appeal?
I don't know. I think girls
don't
like
know.
horror stuff. Like I feel like
mean-
girls are a lot more outspoken about their love for horror than guys.
I mean, not me. I love me. some
Well, I
horror.
mean, true crime isn't the same as horror. Like,
That's
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
it's
we're
Like
talking-
crime
talk-
and yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
that's a good.
Yeah.
like I mean, if you watch, like if you go on a serial killer tour where it's like we're gonna tour all the spots where so and so killed so and so, all these people, like Jeffrey Dahmer and those people, most of them are female.
Yep, that's true.
Ooh, stereotypes on Halloween.
I mean-
Ooh, spooky.
Stereotype.
Ooh,
my goodness.
stereotypes.
Pun of the day. We have to have a pun of the day
Yay! I
at the end of the show.
I hate puns
Ugh.
with a passion.
I do too.
All right. Anything else to add, boys? We're keep it real on the
Or
pod.
not if you're writing creepypasta.
Yeah,
Yeah,
keep-
make something
'Cause-
really fake,
yeah.
please.
Because your
Um,
real life is not scary enough to be a creepypasta.
So, your real life isn't scary enough. I'm gonna go ahead and not make any promises like I normally do. There is a plan for next week. There's two plans. One could fall through, one could not. We could see. But that's gonna go. We're not gonna have Andy on the next one either way. So
No,
I'll
they're firing
see.
me.
We're not firing you. We haven't made enough revenue, so you
I'm
just be
too-
leaving.
You're a
We
burden.
have no
to
money
this-
left. We have no money. I'm gonna start.
Oh,
I'm gonna start
I see.
Venmoing you guys $5
Budget-
to show up.
Budget cut. That's what it is.
Due to budget
And I'm the
cuts,
most expensible. I'm the most expensive.
the most
I
expendable.
mean, you're
honestly,
always
is
the last
probably-
one on the list
Oh,
Oh,
because your name
actually,
starts with a U.
well, if you look at the Discord right now, there's 3 of them who aren't online. They're the most expendable ones because they're never on.
Well,
Literally, they're like, "You will be on the
never on.
podcast. Never do an episode with me." I'm like, "You guys want to pick out a day?" They're like, "Yeah, sure." No, never pick out a day.
sounds like
The second
it's
most
time to
expendable is probably
pull
me.
the her-
'Cause
No, it's Deaky. Deaky's never. He's been on 1 episode and that's it.
cool.
All right.
After that awkward silence, it's time to go.
Listen.
Yeah.
All right. So no promises for next week. There could be something going on. I will be doing some readings finally this week. Finally, because I've been promising them. They are going to be creepy. Because it's Halloween spook time. It's Spooktober. Then I'll get to the lore books back in November.
Yeah.
And then the weekend after that, is that about to be Halloween times?
I
I
believe
think-
so.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what we're going to do Over the Garden Wall. So we're going to do the lore of Over the Garden Wall. All right. With that, we're going to sign off here. It's Nick from the Original Nick Show hosting again. Again, I had with me Benny, Noah, and Andy. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next episode of Lorecast.